Who taught you what tough looks like? Think about it. Really think. Somewhere along the way, you learned that tough meant a certain expression, a certain posture, a certain way of walking and talking and holding your jaw. You learned that tough was a performance, a costume you put on so the world would not see what was underneath. But here's the thing about costumes. They only fool people who are not paying attention. The people who are actually dangerous, the ones who have walked through real fire and come out the other side, they see right through the costume. They see the fear underneath, the doubt, the desperate need to be seen as something you are not yet sure you are. This is a story about a man who wanted to look tough, and about another man who showed him that looking tough and being tough are not just different things. They are opposite things. It did not happen. I need to tell you that clearly. Bruce Lee died in 1973. Jason Statham was 6 years old. The meeting I am about to describe is imagination, not history. But the truth it contains? That is as real as the heartbeat in your chest. Come with me to a film set in Hong Kong, 1995. Come watch a young actor learn the most important lesson of his career. And ask yourself, as you watch, what costume you might be wearing that you have forgotten is a costume. The set was chaos. Lights being adjusted. Crew members shouting in 3 languages. Stunt coordinators arguing about angles. And in the middle of it all, a young British actor who was about to film his first fight scene and was absolutely terrified. Jason Statham was 28 years old. He had been cast in his first action role based on his athletic background. Diving, kickboxing, the physical gifts that would later make him famous. But he had never acted before. Not really. Not in front of cameras that would broadcast every flicker of doubt to audiences around the world. And doubt was all he felt. He stood in front of the mirror in his trailer, practicing the expression he thought an action hero should have. Hard eyes, clenched jaw, the look that said, "I am dangerous," without speaking a word. It looked wrong. He knew it looked wrong, but he did not know how to make it look right. "You are trying too hard." The voice came from behind him. Statham spun to find a small man standing in the doorway of his trailer. Asian, perhaps 70 years old, dressed simply, moving with an ease that seemed almost liquid. "Who are you? How did you get in here?" "I am a consultant on this film. The producers asked me to help the actors with their movement, their presence." The old man smiled slightly. "Their toughness." Statham felt a flush of embarrassment. Had someone seen him practicing in the mirror? Had they sent this man because they could tell he was struggling? "I don't need help," he said, his voice harder than necessary. "I've got it handled." "Of course." The old man did not move from the doorway. "But I am curious about something. That expression you were practicing. Where did you learn it?" "What do you mean?" Who taught you that tough looks like that? That particular set of the jaw? That particular hardness in the eyes?" Statham opened his mouth to answer, then realized he did not have one. He had never thought about it. Tough was just tough. Everyone knew what it looked like. Movies, I suppose. Other actors. The old man nodded slowly. "So you learned what tough looks like from people who were pretending to be tough. Who learned it from other people who were pretending. A performance of a performance of a performance." He stepped into the trailer, and something about his presence made the space feel smaller. "Would you like to know what tough actually looks like? Not the performance. The reality." Something in his voice made Statham want to say yes. Made him want to drop the mask he had been practicing and admit that he had no idea what he was doing. But the mask was hard to drop. It had been protecting him for years. "I told you, I've got it handled." "Show me." "What?" "Show me your tough face. The one you will use in the scene today. Show me, and I will tell you honestly whether it will work." Statham hesitated. This felt like a trap. But the old man's eyes held no mockery, no judgment. Only patience. He turned back to the mirror. He summoned the expression. The hard eyes. The clenched jaw. The look that said, "I am dangerous." Behind him, the old man was silent for a long moment. "Do you know what I see?" he finally asked. "What?" "Fear." The word hit Statham like a physical blow. His expression cracked. His eyes met the old man's in the mirror. "I see a young man who is terrified that he is not enough, who is trying to convince the world, and himself, that he is something he is not sure he is. The face you're making is not tough. It is a mask, and masks always tell the audience exactly what they are hiding. if this is landing somewhere uncomfortable, if you are recognizing something about your own masks, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Because what happens next could change more than an acting career. Who the hell are you? Statham demanded, turning to face the old man directly. My name is Wong. I trained with Bruce Lee for many years. I carry his teaching, and his teaching is very clear on this point. Real toughness looks nothing like what you see in movies. Bruce Lee. The name made Statham pause. This was not just some random consultant. This was someone connected to the source, the legend, the standard against which all action performers were measured. What does real toughness look like then? Wong moved to the small couch in the trailer and sat, gesturing for Statham to sit across from him. Let me ask you something first. Why do you want to look tough? Because that's the role. Action hero. You have to look like you can handle yourself. That is what the role requires. Ask why you want it, not the character. You, Jason Statham. Why do you need to look tough? The question cut deeper than Statham expected. He found himself answering before he could censor the response. Because I'm not sure I am tough. Not really. I've trained. I've competed. I've won fights. But there's always this voice that says I'm faking it. That someone's going to see through me. That I'm going to be exposed as a fraud. Wong nodded slowly, as if this was exactly what he expected to hear. This voice. This fear. This is why your tough face does not work. Because you're using toughness to hide from doubt, instead of moving through doubt to find genuine strength. I don't understand. Real toughness does not come from hiding fear. It comes from accepting fear, from being so comfortable with your own vulnerability that you no longer need to pretend it does not exist. He leaned forward, his intensity sharpening. The toughest men I have ever known, including Bruce Lee, did not look tough at all. They looked relaxed, calm, almost soft, because they had nothing to prove. They knew who they were. They knew what they could do. They did not need the world to see them as dangerous because they were not seeking validation from the world. But audiences expect. Audiences expect what they have been taught to expect. They have been shown 1,000 actors making hard faces and clenching their jaws and performing toughness. But when they see the real thing, when they see someone who is genuinely comfortable in their own power, they recognize it instantly. They may not know why it is different, but they feel it. Wong stood and moved to the center of the small trailer. Let me show you something. I want you to attack me. Statham blinked. Here, in the trailer? Yes. Throw a punch, as hard and fast as you can. I want you to see what real toughness looks like from the receiving end. Statham stood, uncertain. The trailer was cramped, the ceiling low, the space wrong for any kind of fighting. But something in Wong's invitation made him want to try. He threw a punch. Fast, direct, the kind of strike that had won him kickboxing matches. Wong did not move. He did not block. He did not dodge. He did not even shift his weight. He simply stood there, and Statham's fist stopped an inch from his face. Stopped because Statham could not make himself complete the strike. Something in Wong's stillness, his absolute calm, his complete lack of reaction to the incoming threat, made the punch feel pointless. Absurd, like trying to punch the ocean. Why did you stop? Wong asked. I don't know. It felt wrong. Like you weren't afraid at all. Like hitting you wouldn't matter. That is what real toughness looks like. Not aggression. Not hardness. Complete presence. Complete acceptance. I was not trying to look tough. I was simply here. Fully here. And your body recognized that and could not commit to the attack. Statham lowered his fist slowly, his mind racing. How do I learn that? How do I become that? Wong smiled, and warmth entered his expression for the first time. You stop trying to look tough. You stop performing strength. You start accepting weakness. That sounds backwards. It is backwards. That is why it works. Everyone else is performing. Everyone else is wearing masks. When you stop performing, when you drop the mask, you become visible in a way that no performance can match. He returned to the couch, his teaching shifting into practical territory. Here is what I want you to do in your scene today. Instead of making the tough face, make no face at all. Instead of hardening your eyes, soften them. Instead of clenching your jaw, relax it. Be so comfortable that the danger becomes invisible until the moment it explodes into action. The director will think, I'm not acting. The director will see something he has never seen before, and he will not know why it works, but he will know that it works. Trust me, I have advised many actors. The ones who listen to this teaching become stars. The ones who keep performing toughness become forgettable. Statham sat in silence, processing everything he had heard. It went against every instinct, every lesson he thought he had learned about what action heroes should look like. But something in Wong's presence, the living proof of what he was teaching, made the words impossible to dismiss. You said you trained with Bruce Lee. What was he like? His tough face. Wong laughed softly. Bruce had no tough face. That was his secret. Off camera, he looked like a college student. Friendly, approachable, almost gentle. People who met him for the first time were always surprised. They expected a warrior and found a philosopher. But on screen, he was the same. The difference was not in his expression. It was in his intention. When he needed to be dangerous, he became dangerous. Not by making a face, by making a choice. The threat came from somewhere deeper than muscles or expressions. It came from absolute certainty about what he was capable of. Wong paused, and something shifted in his own presence. For just a moment, Statham glimpsed what he was describing. The friendly old man was still there. But underneath, suddenly visible, was something that made Statham's survival instincts flare. Then it was gone. Wong was just an old man again. Did you feel that? Wong asked. Yes. What was that? Attention. I decided, for one moment, to let you see what I am capable of. No face changed. No muscle tensed. I simply allowed the truth to become visible. That's what Bruce did. That is what Bruce mastered. And it is why no one has ever matched him on screen. Other actors perform toughness. Bruce simply was tough. And the camera, like all audiences, knows the difference between performance and truth. The trailer door opened, and an assistant director poked his head in. Mr. Statham, they're ready for you on set. Statham stood, feeling like he was about to walk into an exam he had not studied for, but also feeling something else, something that might have been the beginning of a new understanding. One more thing, Wong said as Statham reached the door. The voice that tells you that you are faking it, that someone will see through you, that you are a fraud? Yes, that voice is right. You are faking it. Everyone is faking it at first. The question is not how to silence the voice. The question is how to stop faking and start being. How to drop the performance and become the thing you have been pretending to be. He smiled, and in his smile was something almost affectionate. You have what it takes, Jason. Not because of your muscles or your training or your fast hands. Because of the doubt. The doubt means you are still asking questions. Still searching. Still capable of growth. The actors who are truly lost are the ones who believe they have already arrived. Statham nodded slowly, absorbing the words. Thank you. I don't know. For seeing through me, I guess. Everyone can be seen through. The question is whether you see through yourself. Now go. Make your scene. And remember, no tough face. Just truth. The set went silent when Statham took his position. Something was different about him. The crew could feel it even if they could not name it. He was not holding himself the way action stars usually held themselves. There was no visible tension, no performed danger, no mask of toughness. He looked almost relaxed, almost soft. The director frowned, uncertain whether to call for adjustment. Action. Statham moved. What happened next made everyone stop talking. The fight choreography was the same as it had been rehearsed. The punches, the blocks, the movements through space. Nothing had changed technically, but everything had changed in how it felt. There was no performance in Statham's presence. No trying to look tough. He moved through the choreography as if it were simply what was happening, as if violence were as natural and unremarkable as breathing. When his character needed to be dangerous, the danger appeared. Not in his face, but in something deeper, something that the camera captured without understanding. And when the scene required stillness, he was completely still. Not tense stillness, the coiled spring look that action heroes usually affected. True stillness. The stillness of someone who had nothing to prove. Cut. The director stood motionless for a long moment, staring at the monitor. What was that? Statham shrugged slightly. Just the scene. No, that was different. That was... The director trailed off, unable to find words. Let's go again. Exactly like that. They filmed the scene 6 more times. Each take, Statham followed Wong's instruction. No tough face, just truth. And each take, the crew watched in silence, sensing they were witnessing something they had not seen before. Afterward, alone in his trailer, Statham found a note that had been slipped under his door. Real strength does not announce itself. Real power does not perform. You felt it today. Now, the work is learning to feel it always. Wong. Beneath the note was a small book, its pages yellowed with age. Statham opened it to find handwriting he did not recognize, but somehow knew was important. Notes on authenticity in combat and performance. For those who wish to stop pretending and start being. Bruce Lee. The decades that followed are the ones the world knows. Jason Statham became one of the most recognizable action stars of his generation. Critics often noted something different about his screen presence. A lack of the usual action hero posturing. A quality of genuine danger beneath a surface that seemed almost relaxed. He never spoke publicly about Wong or the note or the book of Bruce Lee's handwriting. Some lessons are too personal to share. But in interviews, he sometimes hinted at the teaching. The toughest guys I've met don't look tough at all. They're calm, relaxed. They've got nothing to prove. That's what I try to bring to my characters. Not the performance of danger, the reality of it. Interviewers assumed this was wisdom he had developed over time. He never corrected them. But now you know. You know about the day a young actor learned that tough faces are masks, and masks always reveal what they are hiding. You know about the teaching that separates performers from presences, actors from artists, those who pretend from those who simply are. And maybe, if you're honest with yourself, you know something about your own masks too. What tough face have you been practicing? What fear is it designed to hide? What would happen if you stopped performing and started simply being? These are not comfortable questions, but they're the only questions that lead somewhere real. Real toughness does not announce itself. Real power does not perform. Be so comfortable with who you are that you no longer need the world to see you as something else. Thank you for watching. If this story showed you something about your own masks, please subscribe. Made me look tough. Those were the words that started the lesson. But the lesson was never about looking tough. It was about being real. What will you be?